To the girl who works at Starbucks down the street from my house on Delmar Heights Road, swear to God, I'm not a stalker. That's the title. When I asked you for a chai latte, what I meant to say was, I was walking past, I saw you in the window. To be honest, I only came in here because I had to know what your voice sounded like. Instead of saying that, I got really nervous and ordered the first thing on the menu. I don't even know what chai is. Or a latte, for that matter. I imagine that when God made you, I bet he cussed for the first time. I bet he turned to an angel, gave him a high five, and said, God damn, I'm good. Or me damn, I'm good, because he's like God, right? I spent the last 5 days trying to figure out how I'm going to introduce myself to you properly. I finally figured it out. It's going to be something like, hi. That's all I got so far. But I think it's a good start. I'm going to be honest. It's not often that I find myself eager to write about love. In fact, every time I try to write about love, my hands cramp. Just to show me how painful love can be. Sometimes my pencils break just to prove to me that every now and then, love takes a little more work than you planned. I heard that love is blind, so I write all my poems in Braille. And my poems are never actually finished because true love is endless. I've always believed that real love is kind of like a supermodel before she's airbrushed. It's pure and imperfect, just the way that God intended. I'm going to be honest, I'm not much of a love poet. But if I was to wake up tomorrow morning and decide that I was going to write about love, my first poem, it would be about you, about how I love you the same way I learned how to ride a bike. Scared, but reckless, with no training wheels or elbow pads so my scars can tell the story of how I fell for you. I'm going to be honest, I'm not much of a love poet. But if I was, I'd write about how I see your face in every cloudy reflection in every window. You see, I've written a million poems, hoping that somehow, maybe some way you'll jump out of the page and be closer to me. You see, I'm not much of a love poet, but if I was, I'd write about how you have the audacity to be beautiful, even on days when everything around you is ugly. I'd write about your eyelashes and how they are like violin strings that play symphonies every time you blink. If I was a love poet, I'd write about how I melt in front of you like an ice sculpture every time I hear the vibration in your voice, and whenever I see your name on the caller ID, my heart plays hopscotch inside of my chest. It climbs onto my ribs like monkey bars, and I feel like a child all over again. And I know it's going to sound weird, but sometimes I pray that God somehow turns you back into one of my ribs just so I would never have to spend an entire day without you. And I swear I'm usually not a love poet, but if I was to wake up tomorrow morning and decide that I was going to write about love, my first poem, it would be about you. And after all of that, she was like, but how do you feel about me?